In this section, section 6.1.6, we're going to go over some word problems and apply some of the stuff that we've done in the previous section to these word problems. So we're just going to have two problems from this section. In the first one, we have a word problem that says that, so we have a garden with total area 40,000 square feet. And in the inside this garden, we have like this 4-foot outer walkway. So the garden has a 4-foot inner sidewalk. And with this information, we want the area of the inner garden. So with a picture, what this means is we have, oh, this is supposed to be a square garden. So we have our square garden. And then there's told us that we have like this, it should be it needs to be 4 foot. So we have a 4-foot inner sidewalk. So something like this, meaning that the distance from here to here, that's 4 feet, and the distance from here to here is also 4 feet. And then we're told that the area of the entire garden is 40,000 square feet. So let's call this distance on the outside L. So we know it's a square, so this side and this side are going to be the same length. And well, we know that this piece right here, there's 4 feet taken away from this, and then 4 feet taken away from this. So then this whole distance from here to here, this is going to be L minus 8. And again, this inside piece is a square, so both of these sides, this one right here also needs to be L minus 8. Again, it's L minus 8 because we have this 4-foot inner sidewalk. So it goes 4 feet to here, 4 feet to here. So that's 8 feet total for this piece plus this piece. So then this piece right here, well, it has to be L minus that, so L minus 8. So this inside square has sides L minus 8. So we'll use this bit in a second. But for now, what we have is the area of the total garden. So this entire thing, that's 40,000 square feet. So we know the area of a square is just, length times width, so L times L. So L squared, which is just L times L, that's going to be equal to 40,000. So then to solve for L here, we just take the square root of both sides. So the square root of 40,000, that's going to be 200. So we know what L is. L is going to be 200. And now we want to find what is the area of the inner garden. Well, the inner garden is this little square right here. The area of that is L times 8 times L, L minus 8 times L minus 8. L minus 8 times L minus 8, which is the same thing as L minus 8 squared. But we know what L is now. L is 200, so we could plug that 200 in here. So it's going to be 200 minus 8 squared. And then 200 minus 8 is 192, so this will be 192 squared. And you don't need to use a calculator, just this answer is fine, 192 squared. But I guess, so the units would be square feet. So again, what we did is we're given that the total garden, this big square, it has a 4-foot inner sidewalk. So here's the 4-foot inner sidewalk. And we know the area of the entire thing, so we don't know the length yet, the length of the sides. So we're just going to call this one L and this one L. But we know that L squared has to equal 40,000 because the length times the width, which is the area, has to be this number. This is the area, 40,000 square feet. So we solve for L, we see L is 200. So we know that this length right here is 200, 200. And then we want to find the area of the inner garden, so this little inner square. Well, we have L minus, the sides of the square are just L minus 8. So the area of this inner garden is just L minus 8 times L minus 8, like, length times the width. But that's just the same thing as L minus 8 squared. But again, we saw L was 200, so we plugged 200 in for L. So we get 192 squared. is going to be the area of this inner garden. Okay, so the last question from the section is that, so we have 100 gallons of 20% acid, and we want 30% acid. It doesn't matter how much yet. All we know is we want 30% acid. So how much 100% acid do we need to add to our 100 gallons of 20% acid to get 30% acid? So let's put in a picture what we want and what all this stuff is saying. So we have 100 gallons of 20% acid. So here's 100 gallons and it's 20%. We want to add, right here, add right here, how much 100% do we need to add to our 30 gallons, or sorry, to our 100 gallons to get a 30% acid solution? So we're going to be adding, we don't know how much we're adding, so we're going to be adding X gallons of 100%. Right, because it's telling us how much 100% do we need to add to our 100 gallons of 20% to get 30%. So our resulting solution, so how many gallons is this going to be? Well, we have 100 gallons and we're adding X gallons. So this is going to be 100 plus X gallons. And we want it to be 30%. So this is going to be 30%. Okay, so we were trying to find this X value. And here's the picture. So we have 100 gallons of 20%. We're adding X gallons of 100%. So that means our resulting is going to be 100 plus X gallons, because we have this 100 and we're adding this X to it. And we want it to be 30%. So we want to choose this X value that makes this 30%. So now let's put this into an equation. Whenever we have, like, these acid or whatever problems that look like this, and you set up these kind of like this little drawing, the way we find X is when we start by taking 100 times 20%. So 100, and we don't want to use percentage, we want to use decimals. So converting 20% into a decimal, that's 0.2, plus then X, and then 100 as a decimal, that's 1, equals 100 plus X, and then 30% as a decimal, that's 0.3. Okay, so now we want to solve this equation for X. So here we have 100 times 0.2, that's 20. 1 plus X times 1, that's just X. So here we have 0.3 times 100, which is 30. And then 0.3 times X, which is just 0.3X. Okay, so now let's get all the X's on the same side, everything else on the other side. So let's start by subtracting this 0.3X on both sides. Okay, so we still have our 20. Now we have 1X minus 0.3X, so that's going to be plus 0.7X. 0.3's cancel, and we just have a 30. So now let's take this 20 and subtract it over. So we have 0.7X is equal to 10. The 20's cancel over here. We have 30 minus 20, which is 10. Let's write this over here. We have 0.7X is equal to 10. So now what we want to do is divide by the 0.7. And so we get X is equal to 10 over 0.7. And that's fine leaving your answer like this. You don't need to simplify this or anything. So 10 over 0.7 will be the answer for this problem.